So, in my first video about Silica Wick and a Z80 Pro, I actually did a 4-5 wrap, and my buddy Nate over at ECF, he's been really wanting me to get this tutorial up because he's got a Gemini coming from over in Europe, so really was wanting a tutorial for this and been meaning to do it, so I figured today was the day. I'm going to be doing this a little different than I did it on the Provari, as a lot of people would prefer using different Zenesis atomizers on just a battery, maybe not on a Provari. So instead of using a 4-5 wrap with 32 gauge A1 Canthal like I did on the Provari, I'm actually going to do a 3 wrap using 30 gauge Canthal to achieve a lower resistance to potentially, or hopefully, I guess, end up with a really good vapor production with Silica Wick on a Zenesis atomizer. Now I will say I did try this method also on an Orion, and I didn't have the best results for wicking using 3mm Silica Wick, and that was due to the fact that the Zenesis products have a substantially larger wick hole. So 3mm wick didn't work as good on the Orion as it did on the Z80 Pro, and I think it was just due to the substantially larger wick hole in the Zenesis. So I would say if you're using this on something else with a smaller wick hole, you know, maybe step down to 2.5mm silica, or if you just got a lot of 3mm laying around, maybe pull a couple of strands off of it and just reduce the size. What's actually down in the tank is not nearly as relevant to what's above the tank. Like if you see on the Zenesis, well, that's not going to focus. It's generally it's really fat up here with just, you know, one run running down, where I did I doubled it over itself 3 times to have a lot of wick up at the top, and that wick is sitting just above the wick hole with just, you know, a little bit of just 3mm running down in it. So whenever you tilt it, it's like that beefier, fattier wick right there at the top catches the juice that's coming out. But although I have been using it very successfully without really doing the Zenesis tilt. Last night I left it just kind of standing there, and when I pulled the cap off of it this morning, it was absolutely saturated. If you are a chain vapor, I could see, you know, you definitely are probably going to be with the Zenesis tilt, even using the Silica Wick. But it's very efficient in using the juice, literally down to you know, a tenth of a milliliter with the tilt. I was able to literally get everything out of it without a single dry or burnt taste. I did notice when you get to the point that there is just residue of liquid, you know, you hold it upside down, you can literally wick every single drop of liquid out of the tank using the silica. So we're going to go up close, and I think this is going to be a longer video, but you know, I apologize for that. A lot I wanted to say before we jumped into it, so that's it, and here we go. We'll do one more we'll take one more bait before we get close. As you can see, it's a phenomenal bait. So here we go. All right. So the things you're going to need to do this is you're going to need a good little piece of Canthal, 30, 32, 34, 36, 28, just generally whatever you use to roll a wick. I'm trying, like I said, trying to get lower resistance, so I'm going to use 30 gauge, and I'm going to try to accomplish 3 wraps around the wick, and that's it. So to start, I just take a good little piece of wick, and I fold it over itself a couple of times. Now, the purpose of this is just to get some bulk up at the top where the coils are going to wrap. Then pretty simple, I take just a standard safety pin that's been pulled out, and I just use that to kind of secure it when I'm going to do my wraps. Take the wire, catch it with my thumb. Now, I leave a little extra hanging out the end that just gives me I guess kind of some playroom whenever I got to wrap around the positive post and start wrapping. So I'm just going to shoot for 3 really tight. 2, 3. Kind of pull it out this way a little bit. Now, once you've got 3 coils on it, we're going to pull the needle out And this is kind of the, I guess kind of the tricky part. You want to, now I'm going to do this on an ash. Kind of want to figure out about where it's going to run down into the wick, into the wick hole, I guess. And you can either trim it or you can just kind of leave it down in there. It really doesn't matter. I take the end and, you know, a little saliva, I guess, anything would work. A little juice. Kind of wet the tip of it. It's kind of hard to do this on camera. Just kind of right down the wick hole. Now it's a pretty, like I said, it is a pretty good wick hole. That's a little long, so I'm going to trim just a notch or two off of that. And again, it doesn't really matter what's down in the, actually down in the tank. Because you just want to make sure that the hole is filled. So, twist it now. Down the wick hole. So I kind of frayed it a little bit. So that's really the only, really the tricky part is getting it down in the wick hole if you do fray it at all. Get it tight. And, hi, Paisy. Get it down the wick hole. Now I did lose a strand here, but that's no big deal. Now, once you get it down the wick hole, I'm going to trim that strand off because it's kind of in the way. Okay, you want to run not in front of the post, but around the back of the negative post. Kind of push it down. Hey, Paisy. Oh, the Allen key there. Okay. Push it down and around the back. Get it tight. Cinch it in. Now, the coils are going this way. Well, I had full intentions of doing this in one take, but my memory card got full, so where I was stopping at is the coil is going around this way. So if you remember from the last little spot, at the bottom, I went back and around the negative post. I'm kind of going to do the opposite at the top. With the coil going this way, after I get through that third coil, I'm going to finish it and then come back around this way over the positive post and cinch it down. So I actually done that right when the card died, and I realized the card had died, so I'm just going to cinch it down. Now, that's pretty well it. I take my scissors and trim off my excess. I'm going to go get a battery and we're going to fire it up. But that's, try to focus this. It's kind of what she looks like. I've also got an angry 2-year-old, so I'm going to attend to that real quick. 3 wraps, around the positive, around the negative. Now you do need to make sure that you're actually not touching. Very hard to do this on camera. Make sure we're not touching. And we're not. We're not touching anywhere now. So, gonna go get a battery, fill it up with juice, put a lid on it, and see what it vapes like. Alright, I went and got a battery and actually dry fired it one time to see how it goes. Really didn't do any fiddling, it was just all going. So this is a dry burn before we put juice on it. She gets up, all glows pretty red. Really nice. So let's put a little juice on it and throw it on it. Now, let all that wick get good and saturated. would say she's firing pretty good. The coil's not getting red. Just cooking that juice. So just a note, whenever I did put my cap back on, I guess I shifted the coil a little bit and it actually made contact, was touching the positive post. And so my first hit was absolutely wretched. So just be mindful that, you know, you've got a lot of wick in there. You've got, you want to make sure that none of the coils actually make contact with that center or negative post. Only thing I did is I just took, you know, my little safety pin. I slid it under the coil and kind of pulled it out just a little bit so it wasn't making contact. And so here we are, second vape off of it. Well, actually third, because I did test it before I turned the camera back on. Variable nothing, just a battery and a Zenesis ash with now a 2-3 wrap on silica with 30 gauge A1 Canthal. So let's see how it goes. I mean, the flavor is everything silica should be, but it's the form factor of a Zenesis and a Zenesis. It is a phenomenal vape. The wick running down is actually running about halfway down the tank, which is totally fine. It's just, it's kind of a barrier, I guess, between the wick hole, the tank, and the coil. So you don't have to cram a lot of wick down in there. I mean, I think I've got 5 strands of a 30 or a 3mm down in there. So we'll pull the cap off and let you look at it again from kind of a distance here. I don't know if that's not going to focus, I know. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Yep. Just a, you know, 2-3. Put the cap back on, give it one more vape. And we'll call that a done tutorial. Again, it's a phenomenal vape. I've seen a few tutorials on the concept, but I don't know, I thought a lot of them were just a bit too much. I don't think you need a whole lot of wick in the tank, a whole lot of wick out of the tank. Just, you know, double it over itself twice, wrap a coil, hook up the positive and the negative, make sure it's not touching anywhere, and start vaping. Just a battery, variable nothing, definitely in the rotation. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing another one. Please subscribe if you're not. Be strong and vape on.